With 1.5 laps to go, I somehow have to catch 1.6 seconds.
Hamilton is 6.5 ahead. He also has a 5-second penalty.
Somehow managed to catch him 1.8 seconds in 1.5 laps, which was pretty awesome. And of course, I go on to score my first podium.
Yeah, boy!
I go on to scream and shout and obviously be very happy and everything.
And Lando Norris gets on the podium for the first time in Formula One.
I need to get another one of these because it's full with champagne. We're here in Austria 2020. It's our first race back after COVID. So a very long break, my longest break I've ever had in my career. But we're looking at the last 2 laps, which was obviously leading on to being my first ever podium in Formula One. And a very exciting 2 laps. So the lap prior to this, I think I just overtook Perez.
And all that is Norris and Perez. It was a bit bumpy going into turn 3, but he's managed to do it.
The door was wide open. Lando decided to walk through it.
He just tuned in on. What's he trying to do?
Bottas leads, Hamilton second on the road, but he gets a 5-second penalty. Then Leclerc, Norris and Perez, who also gets a 5-second penalty. You're going to need a calculator and binoculars and a pair of eyes to work out this one.
Hamilton is 6.5 ahead. He also has a 5-second penalty.
With 1.5 laps to go, 6.5 seconds behind Lewis. So I somehow have to catch 1.6 seconds, over 1.6 seconds to achieve a podium, which of course is, at the time, I'm not thinking it's going to be possible in any way. He's in a Mercedes, it's Lewis, like why would I expect to have any chance? But the car was working well, we were on good tyres, I saved the tyres a lot for the last 3 laps, so everything was coming together. It was just going to be a very, very big ask. Throughout these 1.5 laps, I get all the communications from my engineer telling me things to do. And of course, this is 1.5 laps where I just got to give it everything. It's like qualifying in a way. You're resting a little bit more. I'm changing things on the steering wheel, some of which my engineer is recommending to me. Some different power modes and ways of optimizing the engine because you can get everything out of the engine as possible.
Stay in scenario 7 until turn 3. Track obstruction turn 1.
So scenario 7 is the engine mode, but we weren't simply allowed to use it everywhere on the track because that's how limited we are and how much we have to push the margins of what we're allowed. So he's telling me like when I can use it, when I can't use it and everything. On top of that, then I'm changing all the buttons, like I said, with the car. So whatever I think the car can take.
Single press overtake here and out of turn 3.
Then he's telling me to use overtake, which is basically just using the battery. And by the end of the lap, I don't need any more battery. So I'm using basically the 100% allowance that I got in the most efficient places and so on. Hitting the apex perfectly in turn 3.
Doesn't Hamilton look a bit racy there in second place all of a sudden?
Well, I just wonder if Mercedes want to let Hamilton get past Bottas, give him clear air ahead and extend your advantage. At the moment, they've got about 6-7 tenths in hand on Lando Norris.
And I'm changing, the differential, I'm changing the brake bias, I'm changing everything to make the car as quick as possible.
Out of turn 8, press and hold overtake for 5 seconds.
Again, using the overtake, there's a difference between just pressing it and pressing and holding it as well. So a lot of things going on in my head right now, but still all with the fact of pushing as much as possible.
Give it everything.
In Austria, it's not an easy track to push limits. You're very close to the gravel, you're pushing the curbs and everything. So it's a lot of risk, and especially a lot of them are very high speed. So like these last 2 corners, run a little bit wide, use all the track possible. And at this point, I crossed the line. The time I crossed the line until after turn 1, my engineer doesn't say anything. But I can obviously see how much I've caught the group ahead and I've caught Lewis and so on. But still, I'm not going to believe I caught them 1.6 seconds.
Lando Norris is a podium sitter. McLaren are on the podium. He put in the fastest lap of the race on the last lap of the race.
It feels like an eternity waiting here after the line all the way up to turn 1.
Lando, the gap to Hamilton was 4.8. I think that's a podium, mate. I think that's a podium.
And then he says he thinks it's a podium, the gap was 4.8.
Yeah, boy!
Somehow managed to catch him 1.8 seconds in 1.5 laps, which was pretty awesome.
Yes!
like a first podium in Formula One is huge. Obviously, it's like a dream for every driver on the grid. I don't want to play the rest of the radio because I don't want to hear myself screaming.
I'm so out of breath.
Mate,
Oh, man.
Another good news. Fastest lap as well. Fastest lap.
Oh yes, boys!
Are those tears, mate?
Ah, definitely not.
For me, a podium was like a win, and something like this in the first race of the season was awesome for me, awesome for the whole team, and a very special moment.
Lando Norris is a podium sitter in Formula One. He has a trophy to his name, and well done.
Very rewarding, and of course, yeah, one that I'll remember for a very long time.